What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about a huge update regarding Blackout returning in a different form through Warzone 2, news on Treyarch's next game, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and make sure you have notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Cold War Year 2, Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, and any other future Call of Duty as well. In the background, enjoy the nuke gameplay here on the beautiful remaster of Jungle in Cold War multiplayer. In my opinion, the Carved Tactical Rifle is probably the best weapon to use while playing this map. It just works out that much better than any other assault rifle and SMG I've used here on this map. Let me know how you feel about that down below. Also, be sure to check out my wonderful partner Manscaped, since they released their best package yet with the Lawnmower 4.0. You can use this trimmer to get a clean shave in those hard to reach places when your significant other isn't around to help. The package features the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker trimmer for your nose and ears, the Crop Preserver deodorant, and even the Crop Reviver toner. You'll also get some free gifts like the boxer briefs and a really nice travel bag. Be sure to use code Twitch20 to get 20% off all orders at manscaped.com. But the other day, Nero Cinema went ahead and posted a very suspicious video claiming that somebody reached out to him with exclusive information about Modern Warfare 2/Warzone 2. And a brief recap of what he was told is as follows. You have to defeat enemy AI at a stronghold area to get your loadout in the new Warzone 2 map. Bags return for looting similar to Blackout. There will be a firing range to test guns. Pro perks return. Armor system changes will be present, and slide canceling was not seen in the test. Some additional details that were posted by other influencers include the fact that loadouts were not purchasable in any way. You weren't able to use armor plates until you have a satchel that can hold them. Weapons that were seen include the P90, AK, M4, AK-50 sniper, a SCAR, and the weapon that looks like an MP7. So right off the bat, I'll say take it all with a grain of salt. We're not sure who Nero's source is. We're not sure if he's an individual that has sent Nero information before that ended up coming true. But what I will say is that it seems like other influencers are receiving similar information from this supposed leaker. So it could just be a QA tester that went rogue. Could even be a developer that's risking his career for whatever reason to just share information out there to get feedback. Could even be a planted leak by Activision just to get community feedback on all this information so they can make the changes behind closed doors before the alpha or beta ends up releasing. Could be any one of those scenarios here, or there's also the possibility the person is making everything up and is trying to gain clout off talking to influencers on the internet. Now, there's also a rumor that Verdansk is returning in some way, so it's unclear if somehow there will be multiple Warzone 2 maps, and one of those maps is going to be a nuked out post-apocalyptic version of Verdansk, considering the map got blown to smithereens back during, what was that, season 6? Oh, I'm sorry, no, season 3 of Black Ops Cold War. And alongside that, we also have the potential for maybe nuked out Verdansk being certain points of interest in Ground War if that mode returns to multiplayer. It's unclear to what extent that map will return, but I'm sure they'll at least reference it in the campaign, right? Or maybe you'll revisit it in the campaign as well. So many possibilities with how they can revisit that without having Verdansk be the main Battle Royale map again throughout Warzone 2. Let's see. But we also have mentioned that the new Warzone 2 map is beautiful and is a perfect blend between a saturated, vibrant, also a dull type of map. So I'm assuming what that really means is that the new map will still feel like it's based out of realism and is meant to be a part of the Modern Warfare ecosystem, but actually has more color and more vibrancy similar to a map that we saw in Blackout, or just a experience that you would witness in a Treyarch Call of Duty, not an Infinity Ward one. So I'm happy to hear about that. I think Caldera is already a good step where the map is more colorful, it is more vibrant, it's a nice beautiful island, but Warzone 1 is Warzone 1, and you already know how unstable the application or experience is, especially for console, so it doesn't really help out the case with Caldera, right? But it's also being said that there will not be a last gen version of Warzone 2, and here's the thing, right? I know it sucks to hear if you guys are stuck on PS4, Xbox One, it's not really in your budget to get next-gen consoles or a PC. I get that that news doesn't sound great, and I'm wishing the best for everybody out there to hopefully find a way to get their hands on a newer console or a decent gaming computer, because in all honesty, if Warzone 2 does have last-gen support, it's just going to hold it back. And yeah, I know it sucks to hear that, but I think in order for Warzone 2 to really thrive and to accomplish things that you would expect maybe in a live event from Fortnite or a cool LTM from a different game, I think it just has to be based specifically on current gen, which is the next gen consoles, or PC. If you have a last gen version, maybe you could have a different dev team work on that version so that Raven, Infinity War, and other studios don't have to worry about it. But then it's like, all right, how much watered down will that version be, to the point where there's not even a purpose in playing the last gen version because you're missing out on so many cool features that are only available in the next gen version. And I also think the purpose of Warzone 2 not only will be to bring Warzone to new heights, but I think for those out there on PS4s and Xbox Ones are just gonna be left with Warzone 1. Activision will essentially say, hey, if you guys want to play Warzone on those consoles, you still have Caldera, Rebirth, possibly the return of Verdansk. That's all. And then all the bundles you bought for MW, Cold War, Vanguard, you can use them on those platforms. But if you want to move on to a whole new map and you want to take advantage of this reset essentially that they're going to be offering, then it'll only be available for PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and then if you're on a PC. Now, to the point about Blackout essentially coming back in the form of Warzone 2, here's the thing, right? It's already crazy that Warzone 1 right now introduced lootable perks. I love that feature, and I think Blackout did a lot of things that Warzone still hasn't. I think Blackout offered so many things that Warzone just doesn't, to the point where I'm like, all right, they're two completely different experiences, but Blackout was just a different game, man. And you could argue that, you know, the armor system or the gunfights are smoother in Warzone, and even objectively, right, Warzone does have lots of improvements and huge changes over Blackout that I think mean a lot to the community and are better, but I still think Blackout just really focused on the experience being a battle royale, not an experience where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna camp a little bit, get some money, and then get to my loadout as fast as possible to use the meta weapon that a YouTuber told me to use. I just don't feel like that's really battle royale. But on the flip side, right, to kind of play devil's advocate, I get the loadout system does make Warzone feel like a truly unique battle royale experience that fits Call of Duty. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to pick a side on whether or not loadout should remain in a Call of Duty battle royale. I just prefer the challenge that Blackout offered, right? I think the skill gap was a lot crazier, to where it's like, all right, it's all about what you can find and how good you could adapt to what you found in the environment, which is the definition of a battle royale. Whereas in Warzone, it's like, do you ever really see people going off with ground loot? Do you see them using that ground loot in the final circle? No, it's all about loadouts, and it's just not really my cup of tea. But I get how it allows Warzone to have its own identity compared to other BRs like Fortnite, PUBG, the works. Now, I think having bags return for looting is awesome. It actually makes more sense and is more realistic than the system we have currently in Warzone 1, and having to defeat enemy AI at like a stronghold area of the map to get your loadout, that sounds cool, because I've always been a fan, as I've always advocated, like in my recent Modern Warfare 2 video or in Blackout over the years, I've always advocated for a PVPVE experience, and Blackout actually offered that, right? Not only was it a battle royale where you're going up against real human beings, but you also had the enemy AI to deal with, whether it was zombies, whether it was zombie bosses, whatever that case is. And I know Verdansk 84 actually had something like this. I think it was in the basement of Nakatomi Plaza, where there were little challenges you can complete, and you had to go up against waves of enemy AI while dealing with actual humans simultaneously playing in that match. So I always love things like that, and I think this is a feature that may end up staying in Warzone 2, right? It'll be a permanent way to get a free loadout, but if community feedback is rough, which it probably will be, everybody's gonna be crying about not being able to buy their loadout, then what they'll probably do is allow you to buy it at a buy station as well, but then offer this AI little mission if you guys just want to skip having to save up your money to buy one, and you just want to go straight away and try to get it whenever you can. But all in all, I just think it's ironic that anything that was really innovative about Blackout pretty much got ignored for some time. People out there were convinced that Warzone was the real Call of Duty Battle Royale, and that Warzone fixed all those problems and is a definitive way to do that kind of experience. But now, especially with Warzone 2, we're getting a lot of themes coming back from Blackout. A lot of things that I think Treyarch nailed down, and they were almost too ahead of their time when they introduced features like that. I just think it's insane how Blackout still essentially set a precedent for how a Call of Duty Battle Royale should work, and that's why I've always been an advocate for Treyarch eventually getting a chance to either work on their own Battle Royale again, which would have been the Euro Mountains, Blackout 2 over in Cold War, or just their own Warzone map. And that's why I was excited for the rumor that the Euro Mountains would have been added to Warzone 1 to replace Verdansk, but we didn't end up getting that. And that's why I'm like, look, Treyarch can do a lot with the Battle Royale. They have a lot to lore They have a lot of lore they can pick from. They can do so many cool things with zombies and cross everything over and have wonder weapons and boss fights. But I guess Activision's like, yeah, we're going to just leave Warzone up to Infinity Ward and Raven, and Treyarch could just help out whenever they can or offer some weapon integration at most. But we'll see what the future is with that. Now, aside from this information all being subject to change, it is worth noting that there have been a lot of changes made to Warzone 1 and even Vanguard over the last couple of months, right? A lot of things get introduced and the devs are like, yeah, we're sticking with it. This is our passion. This is our goal. We're going to keep things like this. And then all of a sudden, changes get reverted. And all of a sudden, they introduce things that contradict the original implementation of features that they had at launch. So that's why, regardless of whether this information is real or not, just keep in mind that some of these things could actually be successful at launch and still get changed later. Some of these things might be a failure at launch and get changed 6 months later. I mean, everything is up in the air, but overall, I think what they'll try to do with Warzone 2 is keep a lot of these features in that I mentioned, but then slowly weave in some of the things you guys want brought back from Warzone 1 alongside all of this. It's not just going to be a direct copy-paste of Warzone 1 where it's the exact same experience, just on a new map. Now, I have seen some criticism to this information from Nero Cinema where people out there are like, wait a second. Is this actually information for DMZ and not Warzone 2? Because it sounds like it could work in DMZ. I mean, having a mission you have to do to get your loadout, that could easily be in DMZ. Or having bags you have to use to gather loot and not being able to put armor on until you have a satchel. I mean, those seem like features that you would expect in a game like Escape from Tarkov, which is what DMZ is gonna be like. But you know what? I think what they'll end up doing is incorporating those features not only in DMZ most likely, but I think they're trying to make sure that Warzone 2 will stand on its own 2 feet and will just be an experience that everyone's like, oh, I do want to buy a next-gen console to play this, or damn, I need to upgrade my computer to play this well, or damn, this isn't just a copy-paste of Warzone 1 on a new map to also drive in sales for Modern Warfare 2, it's its own new experience that's different from the original, that also happens to listen to feedback and expand upon things that might have worked well or might not have worked well in Warzone 1, so I could see that happening here. Now with that news, I'm also very intrigued to see how they improve Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer over MW 2019. And, you know, going off of the data, which as of today still seems fairly reliable from the sources that dropped it, I think if Modern Warfare did perform that bad and lost a lot of player retention very quickly, even with the help of the pandemic, then that probably encourages them to say, all right, how do we drastically change the multiplayer or the game altogether to hold that player retention for not only 6 seasons this time, but 12 if the game is going to get a year 2 like rumors suggest. But now when it comes to some very interesting news about Treyarch's next game, we have an exclusive report from gaming scooper The Ghost of Hope claiming that Treyarch has not formally been told yet whether or not they will be getting a 2-year life cycle for COD 2024 like Infinity Ward is getting with Modern Warfare 2. I put on my own tweet a couple of hours after I saw this report where I say if there was any COD that deserved a 2-year life cycle without any yearly title right afterwards, it's a Treyarch game. Black Ops 4 was gonna have one, and it was confirmed, by the way, before the COD 2020 incident where Treyarch had to take over for Sledgehammer, but I think COD 2024 may get it if Modern Warfare 2's Year 2 is successful. Cold War is another game where it would have worked. And yeah, I'm trying to add in extra thoughts I had, but just couldn't fit in the tweet. I definitely think not only was Black Ops 4 confirmed to have that literally at the reveal event, but we know that Cold War probably would have even offered more in Year 2, actual new content, right? New multiplayer maps, possibly even more zombies, if Treyarch once again didn't have to help out Sledgehammer with whatever crisis they were going through. They did that before already with some previous releases, such as COD 2020, which wasn't Treyarch's game to begin with, so it does seem like every time Treyarch has the foundation down to do multiple years of support, they have to step in and help somebody else. And the rumor right now suggests that Sledgehammer is going to come out with another Call of Duty in 2026. That leaves the slot for 2025 open, but there's a big but here. What if Activision's like, all right, Modern Warfare 2 Year 2 wasn't successful, we need to continue the yearly cycle, and that's of course if they still remain in charge and Microsoft doesn't take over. But what if Microsoft takes over and says, yeah, we want to keep the yearly cycle going, we're not going to have these gap years and Year 2s, so they're like, all right, Sledgehammer, you have to put out a game in 2025, which means that Treyarch's next game wouldn't get a proper Year 2 on its own 2 feet, and then Treyarch might have to help Sledgehammer again with Sledgehammer's next Call of Duty. that would be ridiculous, but it's certainly possible considering the circumstances we see behind the scenes right now. But the reason I say that a Treyarch game, if any Call of Duty, should be the first game to get a proper year 2 support is because of not only a successful multiplayer or a decent Warzone integration or even a solid zombies mode, but I also think it has to do with the energy around Treyarch's games just being that much hotter, just being that much better, at least what we've seen over the past couple of years, to where it makes sense. You could see Treyarch having more maps on deck for multiplayer. You could see Treyarch wanting to do a second year of Zombies DLC. You could see them wanting to do that, but time and time again, they've been interrupted. But I think the only real reason why Modern Warfare 2 of all games will get a proper second year with no interruptions will be because of DMZ. I think that mode will be so successful and so popular that it'll actually take over the spotlight from Warzone for a while until Warzone 2 comes out. And I also think this could maybe be Activision's way of saying, yeah, we realize Treyarch has gotten screwed over so many damn times in the past. Maybe it is time to give them a little bit of a break and allow them to execute a proper vision without having to worry about anybody else. And maybe they realize, hey, if Treyarch didn't have to help Sledgehammer with Vanguard, with ranked play, with zombies, maybe Cold War would have gotten more in year 2, and maybe Treyarch's next Black Ops game would have come out in 2023 like it was supposed to, but because of all these issues, let's just push their next game back to 2024. So that's the thing, right? It all comes down to how successful Modern Warfare 2 year 2 is. If it ends up being just a year of nothing where nothing's going on, then I don't see Activision or Microsoft saying, hey, let's have Treyarch do the same thing in 2025 during the second year of that game's life cycle. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the supposed information regarding Warzone 2 according to Nero Cinema? And what are your thoughts on Treyarch's next game potentially not having a proper second year of support? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.